yeah, hopefully that's good. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed we're good. So we're not going out to Twitter and Periscope tonight. Apologies for that. We're just going out on Facebook, but it looks like, phew, it's all good. It's far too hot here tonight to have technical problems. So yeah, that should be good. And Claire Fox is here as well. Brilliant. Right, tonight is the book club, guys. We're looking at, you know what, we're looking at a really good book tonight. I was saying before we went live, I was saying this is like a dead easy book to read, dead easy book to take in like, you know, little chunks. It's not too heavy, it's not too demanding. It's a great book called If I Could Tell You Just One Thing, right? And if I could tell you just one thing, let me bring it up. I've only got it on Kindle at the moment, not ordered the paperback. But this is basically a guy, Richard Reed, I think is the author, and he's a guy who decided he was just going to go out and just meet like ridiculously famous people. Everybody from like Dame Maggie Smith to Richard Branson, loads of actors like Jude Law, Joanna Lumley, etc. To Bill Gates, you know, the big players in the world. Carly, good evening. And he was going to get them to give him, well, they sat and chatted for a long time, but just like one piece. If I could tell you just one thing, what would it be? So I want people tonight, I mean, we've got so many people to choose from. I was initially going to pick out like the 3 people that I think we should hear from. I was going to choose actors, but I thought, you know what, maybe you don't want to always hear from actors. Let's choose who we want to get advice from tonight, basically. I mean, there's so many people in here. Let me just like pick out a few. President Clinton was one. And pick out some ones that we've heard of in the UK as well. Joanna Lumley. We've got Annie Lennox, Simon Cowell. Let's have a look. David Attenborough, that'd be a good one. Dame Judi Dench. There's so many here. Dalai Lama's good one. Who else have we got? Joe Malone, Bear Grylls, Mickey Hart, Claire Balding, Jude Law, Richard Curtis, Jude Kelly, Michael McIntyre. He's a bit mental, isn't he? Michael McIntyre, Tony Blair. Who else have we got here? Olivia Colman, great actress. James Rhodes, I think he's a pianist, isn't he? I think. Any of these names ringing a bell with you, and like, or maybe resonating with you, write in the Facebook comments here, and we'll see who's the most popular. Bill Gates is a good one. So there's lots of people from like, you know, all over different places. Ruby Wax has been pretty good. She's been kind of hot on the mental health kind of stuff over the years. James Corden, Nicola Sturgeon. There's a lot to choose from, and we're going to hear what's the one thing they would tell people if they could tell you just one thing. Let me go to the comments, see what we've got. Kim Jong-un, Steve, is not in it, unfortunately. Brilliant. Joanna Lumley says Gary, what are people voting for? Give me some names. Lee said he's missed you guys. We've all I was off last week. I was doing Casualty last week, wasn't I? So I didn't even go live on Monday night. Who else have we got? Let's have a look. Give me some names that you like. Olivia Colman, Richard Branson, James Corden. Oh, any more for these names? So we end up with just more than one vote each. Just the sheer skill of meeting all these people and getting them to impart genuine advice. It's good, isn't it, Lewis? Seriously, I mean, that's like half the battle of my life is like booking guests for acts on this TV. It's hard. Sitting in Jude Law's car at the side of the road for 2 hours talking to him about his life. This is what this guy did. He's managed to just get to Dame Maggie Smith's house and drink champagne with her. It's all a bit weird. Bill Gates says Dawn. So we've got 2 for Coleman, 2 for Lumley. So they're in. Definitely. So we can do Coleman and Lumley. Then we've got 1 for James Corden, 1 for Richard Branson, and 1 for Bill Gates. Any more for any more? See, we're going to need that. Ruby Wax, that's another one we've only got 1 vote for. The next person to write a name down on here that we've already had once, that's not Kim Jong-un because he's not in the book, is going to be the winner. We've got two so far, Lumley and Coleman. We're going to hear from them tonight, and I think we'll have time to read one more because the chapters, that's a good thing. The chapters aren't that long. They probably take like, I don't know, 10 minutes each to read, if that. So we should be able to get through 3 pieces of advice tonight, and then we'll get through 3 pieces of advice on the next book club in 2 weeks' time, because we'll do a Q&A next week, I think, next Monday. We've got another one for Corden. Is that 2 for Corden? Yes. Right, so it's Corden, Lumley. Gary, you were just too late with the Ruby Wax. Corden, Lumley, and Coleman tonight. Right, and it started off with who was the first vote? Coleman. Right, let's have a look. Where's Olivia Colman? Olivia Colman cleans up, it says. Okay, here we go. I've got my iPad, Kindle. Do you know what? I'm not a fan of this, Kindles. I get the book on Kindle because I can decide shortly before the broadcast what we're going to do, but there's just no substitute for paperbacks, is there? I actually support my Kindle when it's down here with a few paperbacks. There's one on marathon running. It's probably not one for the book club, to be honest. Could be a little bit dull. So if people are ready, Jude Law looked like a popular one as well there. So people are ready and you're settled in, then we'll get reading this. If you could do us a massive favour, if you're on Facebook, well, you are on Facebook because there's no one on Twitter tonight because it's not working on Twitter, give it a share for me. Maybe someone else wants to know about Olivia Colman and James Corden and Joanna Lumley tonight. Might inspire people to, change their life somehow. So this is Colman. It's titled Colman Cleans Up. Let's have a little read. I haven't read these, by the way. I have no idea what we're going to read. So it says, Olivia Colman, described by Meryl Streep as divinely gifted and one of the most loved and in-demand actresses of her generation, is telling me about her big break. I told you it's a good book. I'm interested already. I just assumed she's referring to landing her first part, but it turns out she's explaining how she got her first cleaning job, the work she relied on while trying to make it in acting. Frickin' hell, even Coleman's bloody been there, man. Right? It says, when I was younger, me and my mum were staying at a guest house in Cambridge. We were regulars because it was near the hospital where my dad was. One day, the owner came over and said she wanted to go away for the weekend and that I seemed dependable and looked like I needed some money. So she was going to leave me in charge to clean the rooms and run the place. And I did. And it was lovely. So Coleman's loving the fact she's in charge. It's certainly not the path to stardom I was expecting, but Olivia seems as proud of her cleaning reviews as the one she gets for her acting. I was a very good cleaner. People said so. I really enjoyed the job and I was very honest. If anyone had a secret camera, they'd know I never looked in drawers. This modesty and self-deprecation is typical of Olivia. When we chat, she jokingly asked me to write that she's thinner and taller in real life. Which of course she is, and she has a weapons-grade loveliness about her. In person, you get hit first by her disarmingly sweet, warm smile, at odds with the naughty words that sometimes come out of her lips, but entirely congruent with the personality beneath. She even has a daily ritual for bringing that loveliness to life. I have a little rule which I've had for about 20 years now, she said. When I leave my front door in the morning, I'm not allowed back in till I've done something nice for someone else. It makes you feel nice and helps you remember you're lucky. Freaking hell, that's pretty good, isn't it? What do you think of that? If you went out the house in the morning, you're not allowed back in, until you've done something nice for somebody. Even if you forgot your keys or your rail card, like I often do, you're not allowed back in. So you've run over the neighbours and you've done something nice for them, even if you've got a train to catch. So it says, maybe those random acts of kindness are payback for something her school teacher did for her. Olivia had never thought of acting, but her English teacher persuaded her to audition for the school play when she was 16. Suffice to say, she loved it. That first experience of people clapping and laughing, fucking brilliant. It was like a first try of drugs or something. It was my heroin, she said. And I thought, if only I could earn my keep doing this, it would be amazing. Back then, she just assumed it was impossible. My mum was a nurse, my dad a surveyor. I just assumed it was a silly dream and wouldn't happen, but the older I got, the more terrible I realised there was at everything else. And that sort of helped. It meant I couldn't resort to something else. Olivia lists the other jobs she tried to do. I was an awful teacher. There's a generation of children that had a lucky escape. Then I learned to type, but I was a terrible secretary. Thank God the cleaning, otherwise I would have starved. Unlike with cleaning, she says, there was no big break in acting. It's been more of a slow sizzle, really. The first 5 years were tough, constantly auditioning, not getting parts, but she says, it's a good thing I spent years not working. I appreciate it so much more now. I hear some stories about actors behaving badly on set, and they don't realise how fucking lucky they are. I want to work with them, so just so I can have a word. I want to work with them just so I can have a word. I have no doubt she would, says James. These days, there's a bit less cleaning going on. Obviously, he's definitely doing a lot more acting these days. And his name's not James, is it? I just called him James. His name's Richard, I think. We'll check in a minute. She's so much in demand. Directors even change parts so Olivia can play them. In the recent TV production of The Night Manager, pretty good that one. Who watched The Night Manager? I like that. In The Night Manager, Olivia's spy character was originally a man, but the production had the part rewritten as a female. And then Olivia happily found out before the audition she was going to have a third baby, so they rewrote the character again to match Olivia at the time of filming, 6 months pregnant. It's all right, that, innit? When you're that flipping in demand, they'll just write the story around you. I say it's a sign of how much she was wanted that they changed the spy character to a woman. As usual, she bats the praise away and says it's more of a reflection of society moving on and it no longer being acceptable to have all-male casts. What about them rewriting the part again to accommodate her unborn baby? Well, she says, spies get pregnant too. Given a constant refusal to take credit and a twin hallmark of being totally grounded and lovely, her advice comes as no real surprise. And this is her advice if she could tell you one thing, right? If you're ever lucky enough to be successful in what you choose to do, don't ever believe your own hype. And remember, it could all stop tomorrow. Do whatever you do to the best of your ability. Take the job seriously, but not yourself. And most of all, be nice to work with. And if you need some help with the housework, you know who to call. So I'll read that advice again. It's good, isn't it, this book? It's just like nice, concise little things. And I bet there's loads of stuff you've learned about Olivia Colman then you didn't know. And she's nice. I'm probably going to get her on for a podcast. If you're ever lucky enough to be successful in what you choose to do, don't ever believe your own hype. And remember, it could all stop tomorrow. Do whatever you do to the best of your ability. Take the job seriously, but not yourself. And most of all, be nice to work with. And if you need some help with the housework, you know who to call. So that's Olivia. That's her chapter in the book. What do you reckon? Like the book or what? It's pretty good, isn't it? And there's literally flipping dozens more people that we can look at. Get some more advice from them. Lucy's in the house as well. Lucy, good evening. How are you doing? And Nay says, not surprising, Colman is generosity incarnate. I met her once when I was doing a show called Exile with John Sim. She was very good. Very, very good. And she was lovely as well. Really nice. She waited didn't push in at the dinner queue or anything like that. Waited like everybody else. I love her even more now, says Karen Brand. What's the book called? The book is called If I Could Tell You Just One Thing, Leah. If I Could Tell You Just One Thing. And I'm going to tell you exactly who it's by. I think it's Richard Reed. But Richard Reed stuck out for me because I'm sure he was the shoe bomber. Remember Richard Reed? I mean, this guy isn't the shoe bomber. Take that. I don't mean that. But you know that guy who, like, the mentalist who got on the plane, tried to, like, blow it up after 9/11 with his shoes. He didn't succeed. He was rubbish. Like, I think he just, like, blew his shoe up or something. He was absolute shit at being a terrorist. But I think he had the name Richard Reed as well. Richard Reed, that is correct, but it's R-E-E-D, and I think the shoe bomber was R-E-I-D. Maybe. I'm not that well up on shoe bombers. Lowry's in the house. All right, how you doing? So yeah, honestly, get it. It's like £5 off Amazon. It wasn't very much. I think this Kindle version was like £5. Don't know how much the paperback is, but I don't think they're not normally that much more. So that was Colman. Next up, we're looking at Lumley, aren't we? Let's have a look. Where's Lumley? Absolutely Lumley, this chapter's called. Right, so let's get in for round 2, yeah? I'm in awards due, says Richard, not the shoe bomber, and the god of seating plans has smiled benevolently upon me. I'm sat next to Joanna Lumley. How would you feel if that happened? Just rock up at an awards do, and then you sat next to, like, Joanna Lumley. Warren says, it's funny, I sometimes have a few auditions and think, damn, I never booked the job, let alone 5 years worth. Oh yeah, she went, Colman, 5 years worth, nothing at all. So here we go. Yeah, so Richard's been sat next to Joanna Lumley at this awards ceremony. Lumley, one of the UK's most loved actresses and also one of the country's most prolific and effective activists. To talk to, she's, as one would expect, warm, inclusive, crush-inducing, but with these soft-edged charms, come inspiring, hard-edged principles, a sense of civic duty, of justice, of doing the right thing. I love her already. Doing the right thing is always the right thing, isn't it? She is a heady combination of warm heart and iron will. which explains that while her TV and film work would be a career to be proud of in itself, it's her commitments and contributions off-screen that are the most remarkable. Take the new Garden Bridge across the Thames in London, an idea soon to become reality, providing the most beautiful addition to the city this century. Everyone in London knows about it and everyone loves it, just like Joanna Lumley. But what's less known is that it was entirely her idea. All right, Carly? That's mental, isn't it? I didn't know that. It's entirely Lumley's idea. Wow, good on you, Lumley. It's a concept she dreamt up and then agitated to make happen, bending the will of those who naively told her at first it couldn't be done. Or look at the issue of Nepalese Gurkha veterans who served in the British Armed Forces before 1997, who have been historically denied the right to settle in the UK after fighting for the country. A morally bankrupt decision and one that needed reversing. It was an unfashionable and unfabulous fight, but one that Joanna Lumley took on unreservedly, using her charm, her celebrity, conviction, and sheer dogged resilience until the victory was achieved and those rights installed. Fair play, Lumley. In short, she is no ordinary woman, and when I give a short speech later at the awards do, and say I've been sitting next to Joanna Lumley, the audience erupt into applause. Everyone in the room freaking loves her. There was therefore a synchronicity to the advice she gave me. Now this is the short and sweet chapter. This is the one thing that Joanna Lumley would like you to know. Okay, the secret, darling. She's a lovely, isn't she? The secret, darling, is to love everyone you meet. From the moment you meet them, give everyone the benefit of the doubt. Start from a position that they are lovely and that you will love them. Most people will respond to that and be lovely and love you back, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and you can then achieve the most wonderful things. Then she leant forward and whispered in my ear this: but get rid of any of the bastards that let you down. As I said, warm heart, iron will. So let's read that one more time. It's freaking good, isn't it? The secret, darling, is to love everyone you meet. From the moment you meet them, give everyone the benefit of the doubt, right? Start from a position that they are lovely and that you will love them. Most people will respond to that and be lovely and love you back. And it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And you can then achieve the most wonderful things. But get rid of any of the bastards that let you down. Love that, says Warren. It's pretty good, that, isn't it, Warren? You say, oh, that's good. Yeah, that's definitely warm heart, iron will. Warm heart, iron will. Definitely. So that's ultimately, yeah. Just, I'm a bit like that, you know. People have said in the past that, oh, you're too trusting, or you're too this, or you're too that. And I've definitely been burnt in the past when I've basically got into any kind of relationship. I don't mean like an intimate relationship. I just mean relationships in general with people in the profession, in the industry, in life, you know, down the gym, wherever you meet people, just everywhere on the street. And I've definitely met people. I've given them the benefit of the doubt. You always operate from that place where everybody's great and everything's going to turn out great, because I'm pretty much, you know, Mr. Optimistic. But yeah, definitely have had to get rid of the bastards that have let me down. Lee says, love that idea. I'm pretty sure I try to do that. Good on you, Lee. Stephanie's here as well. All right, Stephanie, thank you for joining us. I actually do that, says Wendy. It's good, isn't it? Lindsay's laughing, saying, yeah. So yeah, I think that's it's definitely a good place to operate. And also, don't, just because people have let you down, and don't create limiting beliefs around the fact that, you know, everyone's going to do that, or you won't ever go into that situation again. Yes, there's a difference between learning from your mistakes and doing due diligence next time to make sure that won't happen again, and then locking yourself away. That's very different things to go, right, for instance, a personal relationship, maybe someone cheated on you, and you're like, right, okay, that's it. All men are bastards, all women are bastards, whatever it is, you know, so I can't trust anybody ever again because one person did this to me, thus I am going to distrust another 3.5 billion people of the same sex on the planet. That's probably not a great idea, you know. If one person in the acting industry treats you like shit, you know, or a director lets you down, or a casting director lets you down, or a producer or whoever, a writer, someone gets you in a film and then they screw you over, don't let that, you know, stop you opening your heart up to other opportunities in the future. Lee says, I've been getting rid of the bastards recently, says Stephen. Yeah, good, Steve. You know, the easiest way, you know, I've said this so many times, but the easiest way to get rid of those bastards in your life is to raise your own standards. You don't have to really cut people out of your life. When you raise your own standards and you start having more success yourself and you start, you know, demanding more from yourself, you start demanding more from other people as well and what you expect from other people. Those people who were bastards generally just tend to eject themselves from your life because they don't want to be around someone who's like positive, and they don't want to be around someone who's doing well because it makes them feel like they're doing even less well because they're probably not taking any action to get what they want out of life. So the easiest way, is not to go, right, that's it, I'm going to cut this person out. They'll do it for you if you just start focusing on yourself and building the best version of you that there's ever been. I think that's like, just that would be, if I could tell you one thing, that would be mine in the book. You know, to be selfless, you've got to be massively selfish first. That would be my tip. Build the best version of you, because until you are that thing, you're no good to anybody. And people often think, oh no, I can't focus on myself because like that's selfish. Yeah, it is, and selfish is a positive thing. It doesn't have to be like a negative thing. Build the best version of you first. Raise your standards. Everything else will fall into place. Those bastards will eject themselves from your life, and you know you're then in a position to help other people effectively. Saffron's here. All right, Saffron, hope you're well. Lee says you definitely do, Wendy, and yes, Mr. Positive Ross. Cheers, Lee. Appreciate that. But yeah, that's great advice. Like I say, these are short chapters. We've got one more to read. We might have time to even choose another one after this. I'm quite enjoying this. It's only half 9. We've got bags of time. The other one was James Corden, wasn't it? So let's have a look at James Corden's advice. Another thing about being on bloody Kindle, you've got to I like to flick through a book. It's better, isn't it? Gary says self-love. Yeah, it's true, Gary, man. It sounds all cliched and shit, but it's just really true, mate. You know, you can't have a great relationship with anyone else unless you've got one with yourself, and that's like such an over-said statement, but it's just freaking true. That's why it's over-said. James Corden, man of the world. He's done all right for himself, hasn't he? What do you feel, before I read this, what do you feel about James Corden? Because he's done well, hasn't he? He's basically gone from being, you know, fat bloke in Gavin and Stacey to having an incredibly, massively successful show in America. One of the most known talk show hosts on the planet. Anyone had the pleasure of working with him or the displeasure? I don't know anything about him. I know literally nothing about what he's like as an actual real person. I've heard mixed things about him, but I've heard mixed things about everyone. I really have. And like I heard mixed things about a really famous actor, comedian, until I was lucky enough to I only did a couple of scenes with him. It wasn't anything massive, but got picked up in the same car as him. And it was the first day of the shoot when we were working on this BBC comedy, and he got picked up just before me, and I got picked up and we were in the same car. And I'd heard he was an absolute bastard. And my experience could not have been more opposite. And I just thought, oh, wait a minute, you know what? Like, you really can't trust what you hear from other people, because they may have just caught someone either on a bad day, or they may have done something to upset someone. Personalities might have clashed. Doesn't mean I'm not going to get on with that person, or they are a bastard. This person's just not had a good experience for whatever reason. But James Corden, I know nothing about, but equally I've heard, you know, mixed stuff about him, but you never know what to believe, do you? Wendy says her daughter has. Let us know, Wendy, what they think, because in Gavin and Stacey's likeable, isn't he? Smithy. He's great. Caroline, you should have been in Gavin and Stacey, 100%. His autobiography is pretty good, says Leah. I love autobiographies. Maybe we should do one of them on a book club, you know, get a super, like, nice actor that we all like, and we could read a bit of an autobiography on the book club. That'd be a bit different, wouldn't it? Caroline says, yes, I have. What, you have worked with him? What do you think of him? She says you can't always trust what other people say of other people, yeah. You were in Gavin and Stacey. Oh right, well, Caroline, spill all. Caroline was in Gavin and Stacey. Was he all right or what? I towered over Corden. Is he only little? Again, that's something, isn't it? You can't tell people's heights. I'm always surprised when I meet people like that. I'm like, oh, maybe we're all smaller in real life. Tell us, Caroline, before we read this little thing about him, your opinion of him, and then we'll judge that off the advice he's given to Richard Reed, not the shoe bomber. Let us know whether he was decent. What? Hey, all are. What does that mean, Caroline? Oh, all are smaller in real life. You're 5'10". I thought you were giving yourself 5 out of 10. I was going to go, don't be cruel to yourself. Get yourself at least to an 8. I just need an answer. Is he all right or not? Otherwise, I'm just going to have to read without knowing, Caroline. Give him a mark out of 10 for genuineness, nicety. Director told me to take my shoes off. Oh, what? Because you were too tall? Bloody hell. Right, so I'm gathering by this. I know nothing about Corden, but he's small. So, James Corden, man of the world. Elstree Film Studios in North London. We've probably all been there, particularly if you're going for an audition for Doctors or Casualty. Arguably lacks some of the glamour and pizzazz of its Hollywood equivalents. It freaking does. It's like something out of the 1960s in a city council block. Oh, Wendy said that someone said he was a bit of a dick. Well, we'll see. Okay, so, but on the plus side, it does have a local Nando's. It does, very close. It's also where the 11th series of A League of Their Own is being recorded, hosted by the UK's hottest acting/presenting/writing/carpooling export, James Corden. I'm shown into his dressing room in the afternoon before the evening show. The TV is on. James is sat on a sofa watching his mate Andy Murray's Wimbledon semi-final, and he invites me to come join him. We both become transfixed by the game, sitting side by side with our feet up on the coffee table, passing the occasional comment on the match. Then, after a little while, some Nando's arrives, and I find myself having a TV dinner with the biggest guy on it right now. Has to be said, James Corden makes a great TV dinner companion. He has that indefinable quality where you relax as soon as you meet him. His talents for singing, do you know what? He's actually a pretty good singer, isn't he? To be fair, I think he feels like if he was in a different body, and he was a bit fitter and a bit sexier, he could have been a pop star. I get that thing from him, like, he does carpool karaoke very seriously. Like, more seriously than the artist. It's like he's trying to out-sing Sam Smith. I'm like, mate, you can't. But he gives it a bloody good go. He's not got a bad voice, though. So, yeah, acting, presenting, writing, even dancing would be intimidating in someone else. But his good guy vibes are even stronger. Let me read that again. Doesn't make sense. His talents for singing, acting, writing, presenting, and even dancing would be intimidating in someone else. But his good guy vibes are even stronger. You instinctively feel he is in your corner, or in this case, corner sofa. That easygoing, Richard, not the shoe bomber, clearly likes him. That easygoing, humble charm is part of the reason why the biggest names in entertainment all want to appear on his internet-breaking US TV show. Adele rode with him in Carpool Karaoke, Justin Bieber dressed in James's clothes and co-presented the programme, and Tom Hanks reenacted 9 of his most famous movie scenes with James for the launch episode. Celebrities don't even do it to plug their latest whatevers, they just want to do the show. No one appreciates America's AAA list making him feel so welcome more than James. I don't quite know what I've done to deserve such brilliant memories. Just last week I was driving around the White House with Michelle Obama, and I thought to myself, I don't think this would have happened if I'd stayed in High Wycombe. Fair play to the guy. A big factor in the A-list's involvement is that the guests feel safe. They know with James they're not going to end up looking stupid. Unless they want to. There's a degree of trust that comes from the fact that I'm not interested in making anyone else do anything but shine. And we always start from what is going to bring the most joy. Joy creation is an apt description for what James does for a living. And for us, the viewer, that joy partly comes from seeing that James himself is loving every second of it. I learned that from my time on Broadway in The History Boys, people always said they loved that we looked like we were having a blast. So I thought to myself, if that's what people like, then why don't I aim to actually have a good time rather than just acting like I'm having a good time? In fact, enjoying the experience comes relatively easily. I just don't remember a time when I didn't want to perform, he said. Or let's be honest, show off in some capacity. But the quality of the output requires a serious work ethic. One of the reasons why James loves partnering up with the greats is because it helps to raise his own game. He recounts how Tom Hanks flew in a day early to rehearse with James over and over again for the launch show. I just couldn't stop going. thank you so much for doing this. And he said, James, this is show business. And show business is about working really hard, because the harder you work, the quicker you can forget about it. And I thought, oh my God, you're so right. The things you work hard on and do well, they never play on your mind. It's the ones where you didn't quite give it your all that plague you after. A principle that holds true in life generally. Gavin Estate is one of the things James has never had to give another thought to. Every time he and his co-writer Ruth Jones wrote, and the delivery of each one of them stands the test of time, as evidenced by the Friends-esque continual repeats on British satellite TV. I'm going to read that again. Gavin Estate is one of the things James has never had to give another thought to. Every line he and his co-writer Ruth Jones wrote, and the delivery of each one of them stands the test of time. That's it. As evidenced by the Friends-esque continual repeats on British satellite TV. Now it makes sense. I tell him the series to me quietly and brilliantly captures all the beautiful idiosyncrasies and nonsense of being British, and that if an alien species wanted to understand our country, you could tell them just have a cup of tea and watch all 20 episodes. James slightly pushes back on this and says he hoped the programme was more universal than British. He would prefer it if someone said this is a story about people who fell in love, and because of that their families changed, and then their family's family changed, and that happens all over the world. Which highlights another reason for his success, that the content James creates has universal appeal. Carpool Karaoke is as joyful to people in Iran as it is to people in Iceland or Italy. Iceland, not the frozen food shop, I'm sure. This truth that James's success illustrates that no matter where people are, they find the same jokes funny, the same stories interesting, and want to see the same people in front of the camera, informs him a bigger worldview, and that's this, that we're all so much more alike than different. We're all so much more alike than different. And if you don't necessarily think of yourself as being particular to one country, but as a citizen of the world, then so many issues are reduced. For example, you don't think, firstly, how can we reduce immigration into our country? You instead think, how can we make all of our countries better? He tells a sweet story of passing this one world ethos onto his 5-year-old son, who asked him recently why it was important to recycle. I said, imagine if you found a floating ball that's 25 foot by 25 foot, and not only is it floating, but it rotates slightly, and if you get close to it, you can see loads of tiny creatures on it walking around. And if you look even more closely, not one of them is the same. They're all completely unique, and they hug each other and love each other and build amazing things. And if then someone came along and went, let's just pour some acid on this bit of the ball here and cover this bit with loads of rubbish, people would be up in arms and say we have to protect this forever, wouldn't they? Well, our Earth is that ball. And he was just like, yeah, okay, Dad, can we go outside and play now? Given that he's passing on wisdom, I ask him for his best piece of advice. In response, he advocates the importance of finding one's thing. So this is his advice. There is an inner steel that comes from knowing you're good at something. It might be plumbing or building tables or driving a cab or whatever. But being able to say, when it comes to this, I know what I am doing, is good for one's confidence. So my advice to someone younger is search for the thing you're good at and don't stop. So there's an inner steel that comes from knowing you're good at something. It might be plumbing or building tables or driving a cab or whatever, but being able to say, when it comes to this, I know what I'm doing, that's good for one's confidence. So my advice to someone younger, it's just not even someone younger, that would just be my advice to anybody, is search for the thing you're good at and don't stop. After passing on this advice, he then candidly recounts how finding his thing helped him find his inner steel and deal with times he had as a kid getting picked on. He said, I remember being at school thinking, yes, you can run faster than me and you're stronger than me and you're better at maths than me and you're better at playing the piano. But when the school play comes around, you're nowhere. And it stopped me feeling too bullied and outcast. That sense of self, of having something he was good at, emboldened him. And he finishes by telling me the time he went to the careers officer and they asked him what he was going to do when he was older. And he said, I'm going to be an actor. And they said, no, you might want to be an actor, but you'll need something else. And I just said, no, I'm going to be an actor. And committed myself fully to that. After all, if you don't give up, you'll never fail. It's a commitment that clearly paid off, and us viewers get to enjoy his success just as much as he does. Pretty good. Although some people said he's been reported to be a bit of a twat. Maybe he's alright. He's got some good advice there. Simon Barton is in the house. Si, happy birthday yesterday, dude. Don't know if you're still here, man. It says Simon Barton has joined. Doing a little bit of wisdom here, Si, tonight. Basically, live on the book club, telling of very famous people's one piece of advice. If they could just give you one piece of advice, what it would be. Great book by Richard Reed, not the Shoe Bomber, called If I Could Tell You Just One Thing. Caroline says, can we have Ruby Wax next, please? Yes, Caroline. We'll finish on Ruby. We've got time for one more. We'll do Ruby Wax. My school report, says Warren, said that I needed more realistic ambitions in life. What? As if no way. Flipping heck, Warren. Well, got to show 'em, man. You got to show 'em. Absolutely. It's so good that, innit? When I've seen it so many times where school teachers have just taken out their own bitterness and angst and jealousy and envy because they didn't pursue the thing they wanted in life, and they've taken it out on other kids by telling them that they can't do the thing they want to do. It's bullshit, innit? It's bad. Some parents even do it, I'm sitting that, and that's, sad. I've seen parents genuinely getting envious of their own kids' success because they never had it. And you think that's mental because you think the only thing you want in your life is success for your kids, but there's some shit parents out there who don't want that. Luckily my mum and dad were always super supportive and proud of anything that I did, to be honest. To the point where actually it was I'll be shut up, I haven't done anything great. Anything. I mean, my mum's mental. Don't know what your parents are like, guys, but I'll do something I never talk really about a lot of the acting jobs I get and stuff like that. And I could get something that's really not a big deal at all. My mum will go on about it. And I hear her talking to the neighbours. She'd talk to Linda and stuff, her mate. And I'm just oh, God, it's just embarrassing because, it's not that great. But she's just, super amazed by it. Oh, and now he's doing this. And it's just amazing. But yeah, some people, people aren't like that. Jenny's here as well. Jenny, Simon's wife. Jenny, good evening. You're just in time, Jenny, to learn a little bit from Ruby Wax, I think. We're going to learn a little bit from Ruby Wax. If she could tell us just one thing, we're going to find out what it is. Gary says, my school report said best job for me would be a window dresser. Why did it say that, Gary? Have you ever tried it as well? Maybe you would be a cracking window dresser. I think you should carry on with the writing and the acting, though, mate, to be honest. John says, love this. I had a teacher once say it's okay to join the circus. Then another teacher said she can't say that. I was really impressed. Teacher said the circus. What? They said that you joined the circus, John. You should run away with the circus, John. I always tell the kids I teach, listen to advice, but make your own decisions. Good, says Warren. She's obviously very proud. Says Claire, yeah, my mum's mental, Claire, honestly. She's absolutely hilarious. If you're imagine like me, but 10 times as crazy, she's like that. She's just absolutely off her head, but she is hilarious. My old primary school teacher is now my parents' next door neighbour, and always ask them how my acting is going. Still pretty encouraging. 30 years on, says Lee. Amazing. Definitely. And Gary says, no idea, I think, because it was creative. Window dressing is definitely creative, but I think you can get more satisfaction out of writing. Right, let's have a little look then. Ruby Wax in the house. Let's get back here. Where is she? Where is the Rubester? It's a lot of pages to go through here, guys. I'm going to find it. Ruby Wax's Funny Mind is called. So let's have a look. Ruby Wax, Funny Mind. Here we go. Not heard from Ruby Wax for quite a while. I don't mean I know her. Oh, yeah, she's not phoned me. Phone was just going then. Maybe that's Ruby. I couldn't stop. It starts off. I couldn't stop. I was even doing gags during my cesarean. Flipping out. So she's just obviously comedic all the time. Ruby Wax, actress, writer, and comedian, is recounting the unhealthy pressure she used to feel to be funny. She's not complaining, just explaining one of the downsides of being a professional comedian. The expectation that you'll always clown around and be amusing. What compounded the pressure to be funny was Ruby's history of heavy bouts of depression, a reality she felt she had to deny, given her day job. I guess you're just not supposed to be a comedian and depressed, are you? This hiding of her illness even reached its logical extreme. She once discharged herself from a mental treatment centre where she was a patient to go and interview someone for a TV show, and then returned to the hospital that evening. When I got back, the inmates looked at me and said, "Are you crazy?" Which was high praise coming from them. She's still a very funny lady, but she has a second, more serious focus these days. Campaigning for greater mental health and destigmatising the issue, it's an area she knows a lot about, not just from her own experience, but also because in a bid to understand the illness that would periodically flood her. She did a master's in mindfulness-based cognitive behavioural therapy at Oxford and made it a mission to unpick what was going on when depression strikes. That's really good, isn't it? You know, when forget covering it up with medication, freaking understand yourself. That would be my prescription to anyone who's struggling with mental health, is understand like how it's happening, where it's coming from, rather than masking it, I think, with like meds. She didn't intend for this new path to make her a poster child for mental health, but she became one. Quite literally. A comic relief funded initiative to promote awareness of mental illness placed posters all over the London Underground, which featured Ruby saying she'd experienced depression. She was originally shocked by the attention. I thought it looked like a showbiz poster, but I decided to piggyback on it by writing a show on mental illness and pretending that I did the whole thing on purpose. She performed the show for the first time in the Priory Treatment Clinic, where she'd previously recovered from a breakdown, and because it was so well received, it toured round other mental health institutions throughout the country. Books and more shows followed, each with a purpose of providing respite, insight and counsel for people with the anxieties and issues of the modern day mind. After 25 years of making people laugh on the telly, she says these days she'd rather be in the smoking room of mental institutes talking to the patients she now refers to as my people. And while it would be difficult to think of anyone who had done more to get mental health issues out into the open, she's not done yet. Her latest initiative is to roll out frazzled cafes, walk-in meetings held at M&S stores across the country, where people who are on the cusp of burning out, who are feeling isolated, can meet up, support each other, and share stories. What a great idea. It all fits with Ruby's gloriously open-minded, open-hearted approach to mental illness. Get it out in the open. Get it talked about. Stop suffering in it in silence and feeling like you have to hide it. She knows there are no easy solutions, and while she advocates daily exercises of mindfulness, you have to practice. You don't get a six-pack just by thinking about one, she says. She's also pragmatic about taking meds if they work for you. If you're a diabetic, you would take the insulin. She does still get hit with depression sometimes, the difference being now that it lasts weeks rather than months, and she's better at noticing it and dealing with it herself. In terms of the advice she gives, it neither downplays nor overstates the significance of how you respond to mental illness. She says, don't get depressed about the depression. Depression can bring with it a sense of shame, that we beat ourselves up for having it, that we're ashamed to have this vulnerability. But you have to forgive yourself and allow yourself to feel it. It's normal and it's natural and a basic human foible that affects 1 in 4 of us. Take strength and solidarity from those numbers. So I'll read it again. Don't get depressed about the depression. Depression can bring with it a sense of shame, that we beat ourselves up for having it, that we're ashamed to have this vulnerability. But you have to forgive yourself and allow yourself to feel it. It's normal and it's natural and a basic human foible that affects 1 in 4 of us. That's 25% of us. Take strength and solidarity from those numbers. Boom. So that's Ruby Wax. It's good, isn't it? I freaking love this book. Yeah, it's great. It's really, really good. What time is it? Oh, it's 10 to 10. We'll start wrapping it up. But there's 4 people we've heard from tonight, you know, with great advice for life, basically. Who did we listen to tonight? Let's have a little recap. So Ruby Wax, bless her, all about ultimately, like, do you know what that is? That's like owning vulnerability. I don't think it's just depression and mental health. I think it's actually realizing that there is massive strength in vulnerability. It's not weakness. Like, I think God, I used to hide like my eye condition all the time because I thought it was a weakness. Always did. Like, didn't tell anyone from uni I had it. Even though I was getting like, when I was at drama school, I was getting marked down for lack of spatial awareness. People were telling me after every play I did, oh, acting's great, but your spatial awareness is shit. You need to work on your spatial awareness. And I didn't have it in me to say I'm partially sighted, I'm visually impaired. I can't see. I have no spatial awareness because like there's nothing I can do to practice that. I just don't have spatial awareness. And it's because, like, vulnerability, I was like, I don't want to admit it. I don't want to show anyone. Don't want to, I don't know. Don't want to feel weak or whatever. And it's actually only the last few years talking about it, I've gone freaking out. Like, it's a massive strength. It's been a strength in my life to push me forward. But also, like, people are nothing but supportive about it and fascinated by it and intrigued by it and curious. And, like, it's just, like, brought lots of people into my life through being vulnerable and going, wait a minute, you know what? The guy when I was 24 who would never have dreamt of being in a restaurant and going, to anyone else, listen, can you help me get to the toilets because it's dark in here? I'd have stumbled around that restaurant, like walking at the women's toilets sometimes because I just couldn't find the blokes, couldn't find the door. And now, I just, vulnerability. I'm like, listen, guys, someone kind of let anyone go to the toilet, someone show me the way. And people are super supportive. And, like, there is no stigma or, like, people thinking I'm a dick or anything like that. So vulnerability, whatever it is for you, like, embrace it. Seriously. There's no point in being any other way. So that's Ruby Wax's embrace vulnerability. James Corden's was knowing what you're good at, basically, is your inner steel. So you've got to find your thing. And for most people, I'm guessing on here, your thing is going to be, don't know, what is it? It's not just acting, I think, for a lot of people. But acting, hopefully, is going to be, one of your things that you're totally, happy with and confident in, maybe, perhaps. Joanna Lumley's was to love everyone you meet. Give everybody the benefit of the doubt. Don't allow the fact that someone screwed you over in the past to screw you up like today, ultimately. You've got to just reset yourself, reset your heart, look at everyone as great, love them, expect them to love you back. And she says, most of the time, that's exactly what happened. But remember, get rid of the bastards. Get rid of the bastards who don't. And Coleman's was probably my favourite tonight. If you're ever lucky enough to be successful in what you choose to do, don't ever believe your own hype. And remember, it could all stop tomorrow. So do whatever you do to the best of your ability. Take the job seriously, but not yourself. And most of all, be nice to work with. So that's all for tonight on that book. We will be looking at that one more time in 2 weeks' time. So not next week. We're going to do a Q&A, and anything goes open mic Q&A for June. Next week, 9 p.m. UK time, Monday evening, and then the week after, we'll look at another 4 people from that book. So what are people saying on here then? You enjoy that or what? Lowry loves Ruby. Warren says, great, good book. How many people are in the book? I'll count, Warren, so you're getting value if you do want to buy it. And for those who've got Kindles as well, you can download samples of all books, by the way, before you buy it. I often do that. So I got the sample of this, and I looked at the index, so you can go, actually, what am I buying? What am I getting? So we've got a lot. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 50, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 61, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 68. He ends on a high with Caitlyn Jenner. Not sure what that advice would be, but nearly 70 people then in the book. That's pretty good value. Good value for money. Gary says, went to a Dank workshop today, and producers said, mention your disabilities. That's what makes you different. So Dank is the disability disabled actors network community. I've been at one of those meetings. It's good. Run by Shirley Houston, plays Izzy on Coronation Street. I know Carly, who's also here tonight, goes to those meetings as well. I have to say, Ross, your Bulletproof course incorporates many of the ideas from this book. Doesn't it? I mean, it's funny. Like, I've studied success for a decade in terms of what makes people successful ultimately, and that's very much been anecdotal and like by speaking to people. And a lot of the principles that I coach in Bulletproof Actor, will tie into a lot of this stuff. For those who want to find out more about that, go to bulletproofactor.com. And it's really because I feel success has probably been the same since man existed. What made someone successful 200 years ago are exactly the same things that make people successful today. Yes, we go about the world in a different way. And, so the way we nurture relationships, for instance, can be different. For instance, this is interesting, I've hardly met any of you guys in real life. And yet I feel like we all have a great relationship online. That wouldn't have been possible 200 years ago. But in terms of, what I hope I'm giving you and value, and we do these broadcasts and we have a good time and ultimately all get together, that thing of loving everyone, expecting people to love you back, what Joanna Lumley said, we just operate that in a slightly different way these days. You just love everybody via social media, I guess. And previously it would have been face to face. But yeah, I think the principles of success will never change. They just will never change. Ultimately, make people want to be around you, want to work with you, add to people's lives, give value with no expectation of anything back in return. Always operate from like a 51-49 perspective, where I will give you 51%, and I will only ask for 49% back whenever, in a relationship, in terms of I'll always try and give you more than I take from you. I'll leave people charged. A lot of it begins with working on yourself, figuring out yourself, self-awareness, building the best version of you, feeling good about yourself, loving yourself, realizing you are enough. Everything you need for success is within you now. The principles are very, very similar, so you can't reinvent it. So you will find that, you'll think, reading someone's autobiography and they'll say about how they did something or built something up or had success, and you go, oh, there's that thing again. It's great because it just reinforces for me that, we're on the right track ultimately when the same principles come up again and again. It can't be coincidence that super successful people are talking about the same thing. Lowry loves Olivia Colman. Thanks, Ross. Caroline. Thank you, Caroline, for being here. I'll be in Cyprus next week, says Wendy. Well, Wendy, enjoy that. I still expect you to join in, though. Maybe with a glass of wine or something. Important to remember, says Lewis, these people have all got to the level they have with sheer grit and determination, not only doing the lessons learned tonight, but further creating their own work to get out there. 100% Lewis. Never stop hustling, man. Ultimately, the more you do for yourself, the more in control you are, the less dependent you are on anyone else, and I just feel the more success you're going to have because you're the one steering yourself towards that as opposed to relying on other people. Karen's here, says, met us at Dank. Cool. And I think I recognise you, Karen, yeah. Definitely. Oh, there you go. I didn't put two and two together there. Did I meet you at Dank? Or was that Gary? Were you talking about that? What? You look familiar, Karen, but maybe, I don't know. Let me know. That's the thing. That's the only thing with social media, isn't it? People end up becoming these little avatars, and like, when you got my eyes, I have to zoom right in on people and go, oh, do I recognise you? Daughter's wedding, says Wendy. Oh, that's what you're doing abroad. Well, enjoy that, and give your new son-in-law some of this advice. So he's a good bloke. Thanks, Ross, says Lee. Really enjoyed tonight. Really motivating. Appreciate that. I want to just say, guys, as well. Like, again, I'm just going to plug my vlog a little bit. Put a new episode of my vlog out today. That was super inspiring. I learned a bit of an epiphany on Casualty last week. I was doing Casualty last week, and I won't tell you the whole story because it's on my vlog. I want you to go and watch the vlog to find out. But something happened on set where me and the director and this other guy I was working with, we were kind of unsure about how I delivered a line. It was one particular line that could have gone in many different ways, and it got to the point where I think we were overthinking it massively. And I think this happens in life. And then it reminded me of a very famous quote from somebody that I talk about in my vlog. I'm going to play you a 60-second clip of it now. You'll also see Carly, who's here tonight. Carly came onto the vlog. We met at the Lowry Theatre, and she recorded a little interview with me as well. Very inspiring story from Carly. Again, watch that. Here's 60 seconds of it. I'll jump back on in a sec. See what you think. People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel.
And the following day, he just come up to me, which was my birthday. He went, got your results. I went, can you tell me tomorrow? I'm 21 today. He went, no, you'll get MS.
I saw an opportunity available, and quite easily could have been, I'm not going to do that, because why? Why could I do that? How could I do that? Not got what they're asking for.
When I was diagnosed that I was losing my eyesight, it was a massive kick up the arse for me to go, wait a minute, you know what, Ross, you might not have this forever, do something now.
What I was going to have to do, because I don't have the necessary, is make them feel confident, make them feel good in me and what I can deliver.
I want to be able to say, yeah, I earned that. I bought that house. I bought this car. Whatever you go through, there's always somebody worse off. You can do anything you want. Just believe.
There you go, 60 seconds. So the thing I say at the beginning is something to do with what I discovered on Casualty. Yeah, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget the way you feel. Go check out the vlog, youtube.com/watch Ross. Carly, again at the end there, super inspirational stuff on there. Talks about her story being diagnosed with MS. How that's affected her life and how she's really, kind of spawning advantage from that adversity. If you do subscribe to the vlog on YouTube as well, I'm going to draw somebody at random in July. I'm going to send you 150 quid. I'm going to send you in cash, so you can spend it on your spotlight if you're an actor, or get some headshots with it, or whatever you want. Or you know what? Spend it on your holiday, Wendy. You might top up what you spend at your daughter's wedding. But yeah, youtube.com/watch Ross. Go there, subscribe, and then all you've got to do is leave a comment on an episode. Every comment you leave one per episode if you want. It's 32 episodes on there right now. Counts as an entry into the draw. I'm going to draw someone at random in July. I've done this twice previously, and I'm going to send you 150 quid on PayPal. So youtube.com/watch Ross. Massively appreciate the support for the vlog. The one thing you could do for me, all I would ever ask for you, from you, is to just spread the word about the vlog. If you can post about it on social media, on Twitter. I'm just really genuinely trying to make an impact with this vlog, to show people behind the scenes in my career, my life, my businesses, bring people on that are inspiring, that are going to motivate people, that are going to give you that kick up the ass, suffocate your excuses, make you go out and take action, be more successful in everything that you do. And hopefully I'm just trying to add value. An episode comes out every Monday at 10 a.m. in the morning. They're about 30 minutes long. And yeah, I mean, people really, really enjoy them. So I just want to get more eyes on them. So if you could do anything for me, it would be that. Tweet about the vlog, Facebook it, share it with a friend, tag someone in it if I post about it on Instagram to get them to watch it. I don't want anything else from you. That's more than enough. That would be amazing. And those listening on the audio experience, share the audio experience as well, man. That would be cool. Because the audio for all of these broadcasts goes out as a podcast on iTunes, if you don't know that already, and that's called the Act on This TV audio experience. You can go and subscribe to that on iTunes for free, and you get the audio of all of these every week for free. So again, we're just trying to have a positive impact. Amy Allen says, that's so true. Working with people with dementia, it's a fact that they may not remember what they said or who you are, but the next time they see you, they will remember how you made them feel. Oh, amazing. Never thought of it like that. But yeah, and Carly says, thank you, Ross. Thank you, Carly, for being on the vlog. Yeah, it's really interesting, definitely. Good night, Wendy. Thanks for being here. Last week's vlog was great, says Gary. Thanks for watching, Gary. Appreciate that. But yeah, if you could, anyone could share that vlog, share the audio experience, just share what I'm doing. It just means the world, makes it worthwhile. The more people I can, I can get to this, the better. So thank you so much for being here. Hopefully we'll get on Twitter and Periscope next time as well. I'm going to try and fix that issue. Don't know what's been going wrong with that. Richard Hale has joined at the last minute from Miami. All right, Rich. Stephanie says thank you. Rich, mate, you're missing it, man. Unfortunately, I'm going to close the comments down on Facebook now as well, so I can't see if you're right or anything, Rich, because I've got to end the broadcast. But watch the replay, Rich, if you've not been here. It's pretty good. We're looking at a book called If I Could Tell You Just One Thing by Richard Reed, not the shoe bomber. And keep saying that. And he's interviewed some shitloads of famous people, nearly 70 famous, big people, from Bill Gates to presidents to famous actors. And he, has got them to give just one piece of great advice, and that's what's in the book, nearly 70 chapters on that. So I'm going to be back next Monday, guys, for a live Q&A. Anything goes there. We'll be talking about acting, social media marketing, how to build a bigger brand for yourself, voiceover, vlogging, whatever you want. Basically, come armed with your questions. We're going to chat about it, just ultimately having more success in general in and out of your acting career. So keep in touch with the Facebook group if you want to ask anything beforehand, facebook.com/groups/acts on this TV, facebook.com/groups/acts on this TV. And I'll be back next Monday, 9 p.m. UK time. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for those watching on the replay. Thanks for those listening on the audio experience. Until next time, bye for now.